What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to EP09. Well, day one of the 2025 Arnold Classic is officially in the history books, and it was a very exciting show for day one. We had the prejudging of the men's open. We'll take a look at some of that shortly, and we had the classic physique prejudging and finals take place on day one. We had some surprising results actually in the classic physique division. Some expected results, some definitely unexpected by the bodybuilding fans. Mike Sommerfeld taking home first place. Many people had Mike in first going into this show. One of the unexpected results, Logan Franklin taking second. Absolutely phenomenal conditioning from Logan Franklin. Easily his best to date. He actually won Best Poser Award as well. Third place, Matthew Grego. I actually did have Matt in third going into this show. This was Matt's best performance to date as well. But Matt, I still think needs a little bit more size in the arms. The guy I honestly do think is better suited to go to the open division someday. But great classic presentation, phenomenal conditioning, definitely deserved third place. Fourth place, we had Michael DeBull actually jumping over Wesley Vissers in the placings. Michael DeBull, fantastic conditioning, great presentation, definitely deserved fourth. But one of the big things in this lineup was Wesley Vissers. Oh, I do want to give a shout out to Ji-Hoon Bang. He was my dark horse going into this show. He looked absolutely fantastic as well. Not as good as what we saw at the 2023 Korea Pro. Some of that might have to do with lighting at the show, but he did show up in very good shape. But look, let's get into it. Let's talk about what happened with Wesley Vissers. This footage courtesy of Gilco Productions. Shout out to Gilco. So what happened with Wesley going into this show? Well, I'm sure a lot of people are aware at this point. Wesley Vissers was actually sick for a number of days going into this show and lost upwards of 7 kilograms just days out from taking the stage. And of course, that's going to be detrimental to your overall physique. When it came to conditioning, Wesley did bring that conditioning factor. Without a doubt, the conditioning was there. But what we needed to see was really improvements in the legs, and I think overall, we just needed to see more pop from Wesley's physique, and we didn't end up seeing that. You can see that he still looks quite downsized from the back, and actually a lot of shaking in his posing as well. Maybe that has something to do with the amount of weight that he lost in such a short period of time. But either way, Wesley did not show up at his best. Like I said, great conditioning. You can see all the separation in the legs, the striations in the chest and shoulders, the arms. The arms actually, I think, looked a little bit downsized, and that's a signature body part for Wesley Vissers. So it just wasn't enough for Wesley to do any better than 5th place in this lineup. Wesley saying, "My feelings after the Arnold Sports prejudging, classic bodybuilding remains my passion always. We will be better. That is what bodybuilding is all about." Now, check out what else Wesley had to say after prejudging. He actually did a little bit of an interview here just after taking the stage. Check it out.
Just got off stage at the Arnold Classic here. My first feeling when I was not in the first call out. Well, I was in the first call out, but then I was switched around to the outside. Very disappointing, of course. I'm not here to be anything else but banding it for another win. It just kind of sucks. But me and my coach, we talked. We know what we need to do to simply be a better bodybuilder, a better classic physique. It is going to be the balance. It's very disappointing, but this is my passion. Classic bodybuilding is my ultimate passion, and we brought our A game that we could. So yeah, I feel a little bit emotional also because we worked so hard for this. I'm not just a random competitor here. I'm a defending champion, so it really just sucks that I can't battle for it now anymore. But we're going to do our best to be better, especially tonight with the routine. We're not going to give up. We never give up. And we'll always stay cool.
So here's the problem now that Wesley faces moving forward. We've heard this from Wesley before. I spoke to my coach. We know what to do. But at some point, it has to be a consistent effort that's brought to the stage. Wesley's placings are very sporadic. And, part of the reason behind that is because really since the Arnolds in 2024, we haven't seen consistent progress. He had basically a year to bring up his legs in size from the Arnold Classic in 2024 to the Olympia, and we didn't end up seeing that happening. I think that Wesley needs to take that time to put on that size, show up bigger and better, we know that he can nail that conditioning. That's not a question anymore. But now we need to see the substantial improvements before Wesley can really be considered any kind of contender for that Olympia title ever again. Arnold Schwarzenegger definitely impressed with Wesley Vissers. He commented on his biceps, he commented on the back. But the fact of the matter is, this is not the best version of Wesley that we've ever seen. Now, he will get a shot at redemption, just as Derek Lunsford has got his shot at redemption. Wesley will be competing in the Detroit Pro coming up in just a few short weeks. We'll see if he can make any improvements for that show. You guys let me know what you think about this version of Wesley Vissers, and what does he need to do to finally bring a consistent effort to the bodybuilding stage. You guys let me know. Now, aside from the very exciting conclusion to Classic Physique on day one, we still have day two coming up for the men's open. But prejudging was very, very telling of what we may come to expect. This was an unbelievable prejudging. Some very unexpected, I think, turns of events when it came to this show. Derek Lunsford showed up absolutely unbelievable at this show. Him and Samson were doing serious battle between first and second place and who may land in that top spot. This was much closer than I think everyone thought it would be. Definitely closer than I thought it would be. Derek has been revitalized, you know, in a sense. His physique looked fresh, it looked sharp, it looked full, although he was giving up some notable size to Samson in the arms, you know, especially in the side shots. Derek was easily the most conditioned guy on stage. That side leg was absolutely ridiculous. The separation between the hamstring and the quad, the deep cuts in that separation, just unbelievable for Derek Lunsford. Most definitely showed up at his best. I think this is definitely the best version of Derek Lunsford that we've ever seen on an open stage. And there's many out there in the bodybuilding world that actually have Derek ahead after prejudging, although I do think it is pretty close. Samson did show up notably bigger than anyone else on that stage. You know, conditioning, I think, was comparable to the Olympia, and really, you can't pick much apart when it comes to Samson's overall physique. Of course, this is part of why he's the current Mr. Olympia, but that's really what makes this interesting. Samson is at his best in this show, and Derek is still pushing him to the point that, honestly, I think Derek is ahead after prejudging. Derek was mind-blowing in those sides and back poses. You know, there's very strong arguments for Derek in the front poses as well, but it is definitely close between Samson and Derek going into the finals. Definitely close.
Look at his massive thighs. Unbelievable. What a back. Wow.
Derek Lunsford getting some massive praise from Arnold Schwarzenegger as well at the show. And when Arnold gets up and does videos like this, the entire bodybuilding world takes notice of exactly that. Now, when it comes to Andrew Jacked at this show, I think that Andrew is currently in a very solid third place spot, but I don't think that he's going to end up doing any better than that unless we can see substantial improvements at prejudging and we see Derek and Samson come in a little bit off. But really, I just think his physique didn't have the same pop that it had, you know, when we saw him at that 2024 Texas Pro, which was his best that we've seen to date. So that is the current measuring stick for Andrew Jacked. He looks enormous on stage. There's no question there, by himself and in the lineup. And I do think that he's a pretty solid third place after prejudging, like I said. But he's lacking detail in the back shots. The side leg is lacking detail as well. The execution of the side tricep, I think, could be better overall. And, you know, the whole thing with him sticking out his tongue in certain poses, I don't know. To me, it's just very uncharacteristic of Andrew Jacked. You know, that might be a non-issue at the end of the day, but it was noticeably out of character compared to the typical flowing stage presence that we see from Andrew. But, you know, regardless, Andrew needs to come in with more detail at the finals if he wants to make any kind of a run at jumping into second over either Derek or Samson. Fouad Abiad with his top 6 after prejudging. As he says here, sitting only 10 rows up, he has it Samson in first, Derek in second, then you've got Andrew in third, Brandon in fourth, William in fifth, and Akeem Williams in 6th place, offering further suggestion as to why he has these guys in these placings. He says Samson is the same as the Olympia, but actually bigger. Derek with great condition, legs from the front. Fouad thinks is actually still down overall. I'm not sure if he means in size. I'm assuming that's what he means, but honestly, I don't see it. I think that Derek's legs are much improved from the Olympia, saying that Andrew's condition is better but sacrificed fullness. I think the detail is still one of the things that Andrew needs overall, but I agree he maybe is lacking a little bit of fullness. He doesn't have that pop to his physique. And Brandon did look great, but detail in the quads is hurting him. As always with Brandon Curry, the legs are definitely something that still needs to be addressed. But the upper body for Brandon, absolutely fantastic. I think slightly reminiscent of some of the best versions of Brandon Curry that we've ever seen. You know, think 2019 Mr. Olympia. Not quite at that level, but still very good. So this is how Fouad sees it. I want to know what you guys think overall. Who do you have ahead after prejudging? Because honestly, I have to go with Derek right now. I think that Derek has done enough to be ahead after prejudging. And you know what? I think that it's definitely possible that Derek comes in and performs a huge upset. 95% of the predictions out there had Samson winning this show going into it. And Derek Lunsford may shock the world and defeat the current reigning Mr. Olympia champion. But you guys, we will be going live for the finals tonight. It will be at 7 p.m. Eastern. Look forward to seeing you guys in the stream. Make sure you head over to bayoumuscle.com. Use code EP10 at checkout. I'll see you guys tonight. So I'm going to wrap up the video right here. Thank you guys for tuning in to EP09. Be sure to like and subscribe.